Hi, everyone. Um, I'm Brett Hamilton, and I'm part of the Creator Platform Technologies group at Nvidia. I'm looking after business development, and I'm super excited to be here. Thank you, Artie. I realize that we're at the Talk Gen AI session, but wanted to chat with you a little bit about visual content and visual content creation. Um, so, um, yeah, uh, we have a couple major services in the area that I just wanted to chat with you about today. The first one is called Picasso. Uh, so that's a generative AI model foundry. I'll tell you what that means, as well as some applications for the enterprise. The other one is in the digital human space and a set of technologies called ACE, or Avatar Cloud Engine. So, and then maybe wrap up how you can get started and use these things in your own business or personal life. Um, so, the first thing is Picasso. So, this is a multimodal generative AI foundry. So, we're building models with partners. You won't see our brand name on a lot of visual generative models. We go to market through partners, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means. But some of the folks hinted at sort of multimodal and the fact that that's becoming more of a need and a requirement. So that's the kind of a core part of Picasso. The modalities here are 4K images, so you've all played around with text to image models. Some of the newer modalities are 3D and 360 HDRIs. So we'll talk about a little bit about that and sort of bringing iterative capabilities sort of earlier in the design stage for creators. Uh, 4K PBRs are physically based render materials for set dressings and asset dressings. And then we're working in the research area on developing our video model as well. So Picasso, just multimodal. It's a really efficient architecture, so we can train on a lot less data than is typical for similar models. Thank you. I'm gonna trip before too long. Okay, so let me just take a look at what this looks like um, for our image model. Hang on. Thought I had this. Okay, let's give it another go.
Start generating visuals by describing your scene in a text prompt and select the generated image that closest matches your vision. If you like the composition, you can copy the depth of the image to reimagine it with a variety of environments. Then add people and objects, indicating where in the image you want to place them and adding them with a simple description. iStock also allows you to modify specific elements in your image. For example, you can select a piece of clothing and iStock will generate new options that fit the space. Once you are done composing your scene, easily expand your image for different mediums. Go beyond your imagination and discover how easy it is to explore, design, and create with generative.
All right, I'm gonna keep it going. So
Start.
um, so it's cool to be able to generate pictures, and it's kind of a nice party trick. But maybe one of the takeaways from the video, you're seeing some of the sort of advanced features, or we refer to them as control nets, so that you can control the output and sort of steer it for your use case. So you can see sketch to image for iterating on new ideas and new concepts, and then this idea of transferring to different compositions using depth, and then adding and replacing a subject through in-painting and segmenting and replacing, and then finally outpainting to expand scope of the campus. So these are some of the control nets that customers are starting to use to make this more relevant to their own workflows. Um, some of those things are in the advertising industry. So this industry as a whole is like totally reinventing itself because they're kind of having an existential moment around this. The bar for creating this type of content is really moving down to people that can do this kind of work in-house for companies, whether they're small companies or large companies. So advertising, you can, I think, is a pretty obvious use case here. Um, Iterating on early design and product concepting, that this came up in the panel, right? So where the fidelity for an answer or a generation doesn't have to be 1000% accurate. You may just want to use these types of tools to iterate on early design thinking. So you can think of all kinds of consumer goods and other applications for that. And then in retail, this is an example of an app called View in Home from Walmart. So if you wanted to view different objects, in this case a sofa, in your own living room, you can do that using these tools. So, so that's that. I'm going to argue that just sort of in the enterprise, what got us here won't necessarily get us there. And so I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of crossing the chasm. We're sort of on the left-hand side with innovators and early adopters, and for this technology to cross the chasm, um, over on the right-hand side is sort of the notion of complete solutions, or I like to think of them as workflows. So, how does this fit into a company's workflow where it like actually impacts their top or their bottom line? So, to like talk about that and think about that, we built a demo for a generative photo shoot. So this one is for a watch, and my wife is actually a photographer. She used to do this stuff at a studio, and I said, "What would it take to do an ad shoot for a watch in the studio?" And she's like, "Well, that's a photographer, a stylist, the studio, and that's roughly a day or so." And I know because she's my wife, like what these rates are. They're like shocking for some of these folks. So, um, which is great, but that just means there's a lot of cost and a lot of time associated with this type of workflow. Now, someone can use the technologies we've just sort of introduced here to do a totally generative photo shoot. So you can use the 3D service to generate set decor. Like in this case, the potted plant, the mug, the pencil. Use your favorite, creative tool like Adobe or something to assemble the scene. Relight with 360 HDRI, and then render the entire scene using some of the advanced features. So you could see how this would sort of bring the bar down and make generative photo shoot like accessible to a lot of people as opposed to just a few that have the assets and the capabilities. So I want to just show you how all this comes together more visually.
The advertising industry faces a growing demand for localized, personalized ads. But this can strain resources and budgets, requiring extra camera shoots and production time. Generative AI services, powered by Nvidia Edify's multimodal architecture, allow you to generate dynamic content at scale. Let's see how in this demonstration. Start by prototyping your photo shoot. Quickly generate 3D assets with text or image prompts. Bring your hero product into a 3D app. And decorate the scene with the generated assets. Now generate an environment map to add a background and light the scene. By moving the virtual camera, frame the perfect shot. To turn the draft into a photoreal image, use sketch and depth to capture the scene structure and composition. Then segment out the watch so that it's not modified. And use image to image to maintain the overall likeness. Edify Image takes all the inputs and generates the final image. Advertisers can repeat this with different decor, camera angles, or backgrounds to quickly generate hundreds of photorealistic shots with consistent hero products.
Cool. So a few things
The
there.
ad
You can notice like the iteration that we were talking about, and I think that's a really powerful concept of something that can just change the total notion of a photo shoot and bringing that kind of thing to market in hours versus days or weeks historically. So, okay, so that's part one. Part two, briefly, just wanted to pivot into the digital human space and ACE or Avatar Cloud Engine. So here, in order to power digital humans and avatars, there are a set of services. You have ASRs and text to speech. You have large language models. We have one called Nemotron, and also a small language model or an SLM variant of that. And then you have things to drive the emotion and the experience of the character, like audio to face or audio to gesture, audio to emotion to do things like lip sync and so forth. So we offer all these, or builders can create their own using their own stack. And now, like as of a couple days ago in Taiwan, we announced that you can run all of these things on RTX-enabled AI PCs. So kind of bringing all of this stack from the cloud and making it available on PCs and in more edge applications. So that's a pretty cool advancement. Um, so applications, think about gaming, think about having a non-deterministic conversation with an NPC in a game. It's pretty cool. Okay, that way? Okay, cool. Hi. Having a conversation with an NPC, so early days, but really cool stuff. Customer service, also early days, and so I think there's obviously a lot of potential applications there. And then I'm going to chat about the healthcare application as well. So that's here. This is from a partner called Hippocratic AI. But the notion is a generative AI nurse. And I talked about some of the technologies on the left-hand side. They are using an agent, the type of tech that was referred earlier to sort of orchestrate this experience. And that is connected to a Llama 3 model and then a number of RAGs to also drive the experience and the capability of the nurse. So I want to show you how this looks in practice. I'm going to hit the button here.
Hi, Sarah. I'm Rachel, your AI care manager. How are you doing after your appendectomy?
I'm good. I'm glad to be home with my dog, Dennis.
It's great to hear that you're back home with Dennis. I noticed that Dr. Chang has prescribed you some antibiotics, specifically ciprofloxacin and metronidazole, due to your ruptured appendix. Were you able to get these medications?
I was. I did forget to mention to the doctor that I am allergic to penicillin. Is it still okay to take the medications?
Great question. The antibiotics you've been prescribed, ciprofloxacin and metronidazole, don't contain penicillin. So it's perfectly safe for you to take them. Can you begin taking them today?
Yeah, I certainly can. Do you have any tips for faster recovery?
Given that you have diabetes, keeping your blood sugar levels in check will be beneficial for your wound healing. Your hemoglobin A1C was at a healthy level of 5.5, but your glucometer readings from yesterday were a bit on the high side.
I'm cutting her off, only in the interest of time.
Hi, Sarah.
So hopefully you get the idea. I use the Stanford Medicine app. Maybe some of you do as well. So that's pretty like a great app, but still I've messaged the nurse. I might hear back tomorrow with sort of an incomplete answer. Like you can see how this type of experience would be much, much better for a user and for provider, and all around. So last couple comments. We have a platform called Omniverse on the left-hand side for building all kinds of digital twins. In this case, a digital twin of the ACE experience. And again, you can run these on the cloud and on AI PCs. And the place that you can get started and start testing some of these technologies is on build.nvidia.com. That's a place where we host this concept called NIMS, or NVIDIA Inference Microservices. And so let me just show you where these live. So I know this is a little bit dark, but this is a NIM for the audio to face service. And you can see just some of the capabilities here. You can play with the model, play with some of the sliders to drive the experience. And then you can download the entire container with all its dependencies and start running and using this. Similar idea here for this is it says Edify 3D Early Access. So this service is in early access, but you can play around with it today. This is from a partner called Shutterstock. Here it's got a prompt for a neon motorcycle, but produces some pretty cool 3D objects, and you can download those and then go to the provider for the API. Same idea on the 2D side. This is Edify Image from a partner called Getty, which was referenced earlier. So that's where they live, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. I think we're short on time. But we have time for a question, at least one. Yes. Yeah. So I mentioned that this architecture is capable of producing temporally stable videos. The research team is sort of doing the training of that right now. One thing that we're focused on here is commercially safe models. So in the visual space, I think this came up several times in the legal track. It's very prominent, and so the 2D and 3D models, those are trained on commercially safe content, and we go to market through those content providers. And then we'll be doing a similar idea in video, because what you have today is, while the capabilities are very, very cool and compelling, they're not necessarily commercially safe types of offers. So that's a big focus for our visual content. Thank you.